Mark, can we just start with your notice of complaint from the SFA? Will you be challenging it?
No, it is what it is. So I think, as I say, my frustration over 2 big decisions hasn't changed, but it is what it is. A process. There'll be a 1-match ban.
Is that a frustration to you that leads from you approaching the referee?
No, I've got to be. I mean, I pride myself, hopefully, on being respectful and being disciplined. And if I appear to lose that, then that's you deserve to be punished accordingly for it. So I'm not proud of that if that's the case. But I think the frustration was very evident. I think the 2 decisions, you look at it post-match, and it's quite clear that we were right in our assumption of the decisions.
Is that a case now that you need to move on from that way? The decision went for you against it. It's about Partick Thistle.
You hope over the course of a season things even themselves up. So it's a long season ahead. We're only 7 games in, a lot of games ahead, a lot of football ahead. And as I say, you hope very much over the course of a season those type of decisions do even themselves out. I'm sure they do.
Did you speak to the SFA afterwards?
No, it's not. As I say, it's a process that has gone through, and I take the punishment.
How do you find the process of sitting in the stands for the game? Is it something you've had to do before?
No, never before. Never before. I mean, sometimes you do it for another sport director. You watch all the games in the stand. You do get a different viewpoint, different perspective, absolutely. But it's not something I prefer to be near the pitch and to talk, and that's my own personal preference. Other managers disagree, but I'll take it and be down at half time and then have a look and talk to the team.
How will that work then? Will David be taking it from the sideline?
Yeah, David taking it from the sideline.
Charge in that sense during the night?
Well, we talk all the time. David and I, we train every single day. We talk every day, all day, about what we want from the team, what we're looking for from the team, what represents success from the team. So there's no problem in that respect. David Weir is more than competent to do any of those jobs.
Mark, can you give us maybe the club's take on the SFA verdict yesterday with regards to the cup final?
No,
is there an official?
I can't because it's way above my pay grade. So as I say, far more grey matter than I possess. Those guys will decide that, but there's no comment from me on that, obviously.
Your ban, is that then kick in straight away? Because I know you had.
No, we decided I'd chat to the powers that be at the club and decide accordingly.
Right. Okay. Can I ask you also your take on what the allegations that we've heard this week concerning English football, and a lot of managers who are being drawn into this in the Premiership and the Championship? What do you make of these allegations?
I'm not going to make any comment. Obviously, I mean, I feel I feel very sad about the situation, in truth. But there's no other comment for me. It wouldn't be right to comment on very senior figures within the game, very experienced figures within the games. It wouldn't be right for me to make any such comment, but I'd always be very supportive of fellow managers when and where that's appropriate.
You have in some quarters been quoted as a potential future England manager. Do you have sympathy for the former England manager?
I think, as I say, I can't make comment on that. All I know is the scrutiny. It's bad enough in Glasgow, but I think when you're England manager, I think the amount of scrutiny you come under from so many different channels, so many different media outlets, it's a very, very tough job. I think it must be one of the toughest jobs in football, I'm sure. I've never experienced it. But as I say, it's a very, very tough gig, that one.
We were talking to Danny there about the defence and the fact that a lot of the games you've not been starting them as well, in the sense you're losing goals first. Is the defensive line-up starting to be a concern?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not saying that in a naive or ignorant way, far from it. But defence starts from the front, the attack starts from the back. So, a goal conceded, is that the cause of a centre forward not showing the right way as we practice? Is it the cause of a winger being too far away from his man? So it's wrong I understand you guys obviously look at the nearest defender and the nearest striker for a missed goal, but that's not the case. That's not how we work. We never have worked and never will work that way. So everything we do together as a team. So there's no concern at all. The frustration on Sunday was we didn't go into the break a couple of goals up. That's your biggest frustration. When you score first like that, it immediately relieves the pressure on the team defensively anyway. And it changes the whole complexity of the game. So no, it's not about an individual, it's not about a unit, it's about us as a team, both ways, offensively and defensively.
Well, when you look at the league table, how alarming is it to see the team in the bottom half of the table?
You can turn around and say you're 3 points from the bottom or you're 3 points from second. So that's how tight. With 7 games in, at this stage of a season, in any league, you win 2 games and the whole picture changes. You lose 2 and the picture changes. So from that point of view, it's very early days. Of course we don't want to. We probably dropped 5 or 6 points we felt we should have gained. That's the fact is that won't change now. The frustration won't. The work is, or the idea is simply work harder. And we've seen what we think is a lot of improvement over the last 2 or 3 games. What we have to do is get the rewards for the dominance of the ball that we've had.
You're obviously still talking about looking for improvements in the team, but talked at the start of the season was about challenging Celtic for the title. Do you have to reassess those targets given the start?
I didn't say what I said at the start of the season. I think was very, very clear. I said we'd be highly competitive. That's exactly what I said. So you guys said about challenging Celtic and challenge Aberdeen. I said we'd be highly competitive, and that won't change. I think you saw on Sunday that we're more than highly competitive. But we have to get the rewards for it. And as I say, it's not about possession. It's not sitting in front of you and saying we had 70% of the ball and lost 1-0. That's irrelevant. That's nonsensical to say that. What we have to do is to turn that domination and ball possession into the rewards, as you saw against Queen of the South. What's counted the Queen of the South was no difference in displays. One game we were far more clinical than the other, and that's what it's about. Goals. Goals change games. So we're not, as I say, not naive or foolish enough to think and not recognise how important it is to get your rewards.
To use who's out?
Josh Windass is with us training tomorrow, so hopefully he'll be available for selection. The only missing player is Jordan Rossiter, who's on the running machine, AutoG machine, so hopefully he's not too far away, week to 10 days away. But other than that, we have a full squad to choose from.
What are you expecting from Partick Thistle?
This sounds repetitive. We just said to the players, analysis is really important to us, but we expect a very well organised team to come to Ibrox. Very, very hard to break down, quick on the counter, get bodies forward. And it's the same, we expect 4-4-1-1, we expect maybe 4-5-1, bodies back, 5-4-1, whatever formation it may be, but we expect a team that very, very diligent, very hard working, and tough to break down, and that's what we face 9 times out of 10. What we have to do is find a way and make sure we're nice and tight, because they possess quality, they possess a counter-attacking threat, they have forward runners, and they're tough to beat. So we're very respectful of Partick. What we have to do is hopefully dominate the game and get the rewards.
Last season you didn't have the bodies to change it up. The season you do, there has been, I guess, a lot of analysis in terms of how the results have not been as good. There's been a lot of scrutiny on individual players, especially in your defence. Are you prepared to change it up as you have done in the centre defence in other positions if you're not going to get these results that you're looking for?
Such as where?
Well, there's been a lot of scrutiny on your fullbacks and the way that they play the game. Last week's opening goal, for example, do you feel that is that unfair scrutiny in terms of Tavernier? Or
it's not unfair because I'm not scrutinising Tav in that respect. Again, you have to look at it. What players give you? You can highlight a mistake by an individual, and you can focus on that, and you can write pages and pages of that if you want to, if someone wants to. But then they miss out the positives from that same person. So you might have a player that makes a mistake, but he gets forward 15 times, puts in 10 world-class deliveries from which we score a goal or whatever it may be. But as I say, I look at the players. If I think a player, and David and I think a player is not producing, we'll make the change. Clint Hill came in. We had Rob and Philippe against Celtic. And then we've had Danny and Clint for the last 3 games. So we're more than prepared. Lee Hodgson is an outstanding fullback, as you saw against Queen of the South. He'll go around Northern Ireland. I've got no qualms using Lee. And we'll use Lee. But as I say, you've got to change player for the right reasons. So to pick up a mistake and ignore everything else they do is I think, fairly naive.
May Kai and Wallace called up to the Scotland squad. Do they deserved call-ups? Are you pleased with that?
Absolutely. Delighted for them. Delighted for Lee. And Barry, as I say, I think I understand he trained really well with the squad. We got good feedback from Gordon and his staff last time, so hopefully they can go and help the team out. We understand that the World Cup qualifiers, but hopefully the boys can go and do very well, and hopefully we can push forward the likes of Jason Holt and Andy Halliday and these individuals who I think are doing really well. I'm being told there's no young talent in Scotland. I'm just looking at my players here, and when you look at the likes of Jason Holt, how he performs, the energy and the quality he possesses, Andy Halliday, his dynamism and the flexibility of his position, I hope very much that in future weeks we talk about 3 or 4 more players in the Scotland squad.
The fact that it's only 2 just now, you won't have many players missing during that time. Do you have a plan for what you'll be doing?
International break. Yeah, we know exactly what we're doing. The boys will have 3 or 4 days off. Hard sessions leading up to that. That's how we've always worked it down south the last couple of previous years. So we have the other young ones away as well. So Lee Hodgson's away. Don't forget. So we've got players going away in different associations. But no, it's about getting it right. So we'll have 3 hard days. Then the boys have 4 days off. Then back in for a normal week into the next game.